who filed jointly and made less than $150,000 and have dependents will receive the most. We're talking about $1,050. That's $350 per person plus another $350 for dependents. This is the largest bracket representing more than 80% of beneficiaries out there. Individual filers who...
A huge day is coming for Social Security beneficiaries, those of you on SSI and those of you on SSDI. There is a ton of information about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits that I want you guys to know, so continue watching this video. In September, more than 48 million retired workers received Social Security benefits, and yet there are many individuals who remain disinformed about the program. For instance, a survey by the Nationwide Retirement Institute shows that more than 2/3 of Americans don't know the benefits increase largely based on inflation. The Social Security Administration does indeed enact a cost of living adjustment each year to try and help beneficiaries keep up with rising prices. In fact, after battling runaway inflation over the past year, beneficiaries will see the largest COLA in 4 decades in 2023. But a few other important changes are coming to Social Security next year. Scorching inflation hit the U.S. economy hard in the past year, driving up the cost of food, utilities, and medical care, among other necessary goods and services. Fortunately, Social Security benefits will get an 8.7% COLA in 2023 to impact the rising prices that everyone's facing. And there will be the largest COLA in 1982. So, in December, beneficiaries will receive a COLA notice by mail, providing the exact details of the new benefit amount. The SSA estimates that the average benefit paid to retired workers will rise by about $150 to $1,827 per month in 2023. That means the average retiree will see an extra $752 over the course of the year. The Social Security Administration identifies any individual on retirement benefits as a retiree. It's possible to keep working while receiving Social Security checks, and that said, in addition to the permanent penalty for claiming Social Security early, workers claiming benefits prior to full retirement age, which is also known as FRA, may receive a temporary benefit reduction based on their income. The earnings limits typically increase each year based on changes in general wage levels. In 2023, the lower limit is $21,000 and the higher limit is $56,000. For beneficiaries under FRA for the entire year, $1 in benefits will be withheld for every $2 in earnings that exceeds $21,240. But for beneficiaries who will attain FRA in 2023, $1 in benefits will be withheld for every $3 in earnings exceeding $56,000 prior to the reaching of FRA. The formula used to calculate Social Security benefits is adjusted annually to account for changes in general wage levels. That means the maximum benefit payable to newly retired workers increases yearly. But the actual amount also depends on the individual's age when they claim Social Security. According to data, very few people actually qualify for the maximum benefit. To reach that threshold, workers must earn more than the maximum amount subject to Social Security payroll tax for at least 35 years. The figure was $147,000 in 2022, and only about 6% of individuals in the U.S. meet that criteria. Retirees were hit hard, very hard this year with Medicare Part B increases. The standard monthly premium soared 14.5% from the 2021 level to $170. However, Medicare is giving that increase back in 2023. The standard monthly Medicare Part B premium for 2023 will fall $5.20 to $164. To add icing to the cake, the annual deductible for Medicare Part B will decline by $7 to $226. The biggest problem with the huge Social Security increase is that it could be too little. Retirees have already faced higher costs due to skyrocketing inflation this year. Now the COLA will be a big impact that's facing Social Security checks beginning in January, help going forward but will offset those increased expenses. There is a similar issue with the lower Medicare Part B premiums. It's certainly a positive development and with inflation on the rise since last fall, Americans have been significantly affected by the rising cost of goods and services, and more than 8 in 10 Americans now say the economy is either an extremely or very important issue in determining how they will vote. Folks, there's a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits that I want you to know, so be sure to continue watching this video because you definitely don't want to miss out on this. We have a ton of good news to come. Biden and his administration unveiled a brand new plan for how they would take action to help the American people financially. Eligible Americans may be able to claim up to $500 in extra stimulus cash. So President Biden spoke to a crowd of union supporters this week, hoping to put a positive spin on his economic record and made inflation not seen in decades. And Biden sought to reassure the people that tackling the worst inflation in the nation has seen in decades is a top priority for him and the administration. The speech came a day before the Federal Reserve could raise interest rates as much as 3/4 of a percentage point, as it attempts to get inflation under control. The president acknowledged that inflation is sapping the strength of a lot of families as the price of gas and food skyrockets. But even as he sought to emphasize administration, it's fully focused on the problem. The president conceded he is left without many options to fight the price hikes. The president acknowledged inflation is sapping the strength of a lot of families as the price of gas and food skyrockets. But even as he sought to emphasize his administration is fully focused on this, the president conceded he is left without many options to fight the price hikes, particularly in a narrowly divided Senate. Folks, I do want to see President Biden do something for the American people, and I hope he can step up to the plate and give out stimulus checks before it's too late. Biden stated the problem is Republicans in Congress are doing everything they can to stop the plans to bring down costs on ordinary families, and that's why the results are not finished either. And Biden on Tuesday touted his administration's efforts to the nation's recovery from the crisis. He also mentioned some actions are taken, and others he's considering, to fight inflation, but Biden has previously said there is not much more he's able to do that will have a noticeable effect. He's also mentioned some actions taken right now, and others he's considering, to fight inflation, but Biden has previously said that there is not much more he's able to do that will have a noticeable effect. The White House has been trying for months to demonstrate its commitment to dampening inflation and bringing down soaring prices that are placing stress on American families. So combined with a dropping stock market and intense warnings from high-powered CEOs, the economy has become the White House's top political problem and priority. But the president's spokesperson argues that Americans will be able to weather the economic storm thanks to the actions that Biden took in office. And now the Minnesota's frontline workers are able to pay and apply for their share of $500 million in hero pay. Employees, however, must take certain steps to comply with notification requirements. The Minnesota governor signed the Frontline Worker Pay Law, authorizing state-funded bonus and payments to various frontline workers, including assisted living employees. Employers must post a notice about the program at each work site and provide papers on how to get it, and provide papers on how to receive the check.
Do that job better to make sure the western drought does not significantly get worse, but we can improve.
First, thank you to this committee for the investment of $8.3 billion. For just investment in storage, it's roughly equivalent in the last 18 months of this administration that the previous administration invested. So we invested $461 million in storage alone. So resources are always of assistance, but really it's having this dialogue.
How quick is it going to be put out? How quick will that money be invested?
Some of those we've already put out. Frankly, there's some projects that we're working on, Los Vaqueros in California.
Mr. Iceman?
I think Congress needs to make massive investments in agricultural efficiencies. I agree with Mr. O'Toole that we need to prioritize food security, but we can't balance the structural deficit by evacuating cities. So we're going to need to make our ability to grow the same amount of food with less water a priority.
Dr. Hall?